Now this, I knew coming into this project, this was going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Waiting for this one?
I've been waiting to do Pittsburgh for a minute. So this is the first one where legitimately elite players are left off.
Let's get it, Pittsburgh.
And there's just nothing you can do about it.
There multiple times.
And you'll find that this is a team I projected for way less than I would for other ones. Because you have to understand, the projection for Pittsburgh, you have to be able to hit Hall of Fame as your projection. Otherwise, you can't get on. So all the guys that I've got on here are like, you have to be a multi-time All-Pro already.
Absolutely. You got to either be a stud who is proven and is just going to be a stud for the next 10 years, or you need to be
great
off this fucking list.
Yeah. So, Pittsburgh, here we go.
Let's do it.
Who'd you put a head coach?
I went Chuck Noll, Super Bowl guy.
I don't mind that at all.
However, I know who you went with.
Yeah.
And I don't blame you. It was a tough decision between both.
Legit, there are 3 that you could go for that are all Super Bowl champs and all winners.
Yeah.
Noll, Cowher, Tomlin.
Yeah.
You went Noll.
I went Noll.
I went Tomlin.
Yep.
I can't hate you either way.
And I'm right there with you of like, bro, I'm not even mad at you. Like,
no,
I genuinely...
He had an option that he picked over somebody who's never had a losing year.
Yeah.
And who is a Super Bowl champion, has been to Super Bowls. In like, there's too many elite coaches.
What more do you want us to say?
Yeah, Noll won the first couple Super Bowls. Cowher won another. Then Tomlin did and got them back to a 7th one as well.
Noll won 4. Yeah. Tomlin's gone to 2 and won 1.
Yeah.
And he managed an entire locker room that had both Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. While creating a consistently great Steelers team.
Yep.
You could go either way.
I don't have any issue with...
You could go either fucking way.
If you picked anything other than Cowher, Noll, and Tomlin, I might have a question. But those 3 are all fine options.
And shout out the Steelers for literally just like...
They hold on to dudes.
Holy fuck.
But again, here's what we're talking about with them. This is why them and Baltimore compete for this division most of the time.
Yep.
Those 2 organizations are just so damn sound.
Yep.
Like they're both like they're built on like the Bengals and the Browns. I'm sorry, but more than anything else, their foundation is like quicksand. The Ravens and the Steelers are like granite. Like they don't budge, and it always works because they know what the hell they're dealing with. Man, it shows here. But yes, I got Mike Tomlin.
Look, yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's very. That's why the rivalry has always been Steelers Ravens.
Yep.
You don't hear about Browns Steelers. You don't hear about Browns Bengals.
This is why I demanded we started off in Ohio, because I kind of wanted to just build.
It was a good call. It was a good call.
Not to mention, if we started with this one, everything after
would be disappointing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But 100%. I'm with you. I think both of them have that franchise built on granite. That's a good way of putting it. I always tell in my last job, I told a lot of people, hey, you don't want to build your house on a beach without a solid foundation.
Yep.
Because without that foundation, it's just gonna sink into the fucking sand.
The Bengals and the Browns just built on the sand.
And it very is that way. It very clearly is that way. But I am really quickly going to advocate for my Bengals and say we're on the up and up. Not going to be the case anymore. Okay.
I hope you're right for your sake. I'm just saying historically, those 2 are a cut above.
The Browns have proven that they are still that fucking
They absolutely are. But, okay. Now moving on from head coach.
Okay.
There's also 2 options at quarterback that either way you're not wrong.
Yep.
I went Big Ben. Okay. I went Big Ben because he's from the more pass-heavy era.
Yep.
And he plays... But Big Ben his numbers are better.
Yep.
He was asked to do just as much as Bradshaw, obviously, is the other one.
Right from the get-go.
He won 2 Super Bowls, went to 3 as well. The Super Bowl, a lot of the judging on which one you're going to pick comes down to how much you value who won how many Super Bowls.
It's true.
I think something needs to be said for the fact that the Steelers and Roethlisberger were playing in the Brady era. And Brady, Manning. It was basically, if it wasn't Brady or Manning, though, who won the AFC, it was Ben Roethlisberger.
Yep.
So, he could hold his own with those guys even if he wasn't quite that level. But I believe he is better than Terry Bradshaw.
I think mechanically he's a better quarterback than Terry. I think Terry absolutely, he did well for what he did, and he was a talent for his era.
Yep.
Like, so he was doing, like, we could have the conversation of, I brought this up the last time we talked about this, of the whole modern era. Well, Troy Aikman fucking sucked.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Troy Aikman blew away the world in a game that was back then. Now you compare him to fucking Mahomes out here, who's not winning MVP, throwing 45 touchdowns in a year.
Yeah.
And you're just like, bro, what the fuck? So, no, I'm right there with you. I think for the 2000s league that we're creating here, with the rules we're playing with and everything, I want Big Ben in that situation because, first of all, he's already fucking done it.
He played in that
Yeah, he played in that
He won a
shit.
Super Bowl and went to... He won 2 Super Bowls in the 2000s.
Yeah, so...
But, here's the other thing. Bradshaw's in the Hall of Fame. Big Ben just retired. Big Ben will be in the Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah.
So this is a Hall of Famer at quarterback.
Yeah, I prefer Ben because of the modern, but absolutely, I mean, if this was a conversation, if you had gone Terry and you're like, bro, I'm going Terry 1-4, I would be like, bro,
nope.
Don't blame you.
Yep. And then, again, another position with options. I went 1 running back. I think that the options are pretty clear.
Okay.
You can go...
There's 2.
Some people would put a third.
Okay.
But for the most part, it would be either the Bus, Franco Harris, or Le'Veon Bell. If you want to pick somebody
Those
who
are the
just
3.
peaked. Yeah. I went Franco Harris.
I went Jerome Bettis.
Fair enough.
Yep.
I went Franco Harris because 9-time Pro Bowl, first team All-Pro, 2-time second team All-Pro, 4-time champ, Hall of Famer. I think he was more versatile than the Bus.
Sure.
And that is evidenced in the Immaculate Reception.
Absolutely.
So that's the big part of it where I picked...
12,000 yards.
Yep,
too.
and then so I wrote here because I had to write it down for myself while I was picking him over these other 2. He beats Le'Veon for consistency and longevity and just stabilization as a player.
Yeah.
And he beats the Bus for versatility. So that's why I went with him.
I went with Bettis just because Big Ben and Bettis already did it once. Let's go do it again.
All right.
But also at the same time, what I'm looking for, especially because you have this is a different situation than the Browns and the Ravens.
Yes.
Now that we've got Ben,
We can throw.
I'm gonna throw the fucking ball. I'm gonna let Ben do.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let Ben do the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
And what do I need from Bettis? Get me 5 yards. Get me 5 yards.
Run straight at Ray Lewis.
Run straight at Ray Lewis. Look him dead in the eye. Let him know it's coming.
Honestly,
and get 5 yards.
That's a collision. But all right, so
that would be interesting.
So you got. Well, they've done it. So you got Harris.
Today. Yeah.
You've got Bettis. I've got Harris. Wide receiver 1. I went AB.
Yeah.
Listen.
I have his 3.
Okay. Here's why. 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first team All Pro, 1-time second team All Pro, 2-time receiving yards leader, 2-time receptions leader, receiving touchdowns leader, 2010's All Decade Team, Hall of Fame talent and resume, and he's the only receiver that's had a 5-year run that matched or was better than Antonio Brown's is Jerry Rice. So when that is the name that your prime is next to,
I want you on my roster.
That's your wide receiver 1. So that's what I did.
That's fair. I put him as 3.
I understand the personality stuff. I'm just saying, as a wide receiver, this is the best receiver that's played in Pittsburgh.
You didn't put on the stats 1 time quitting in the middle of a football game for
that
the
wasn't
Buccaneers.
Well, that wasn't in Pittsburgh.
True. He only quit on the team after during a playoff game. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It didn't show up for week 17 and then expected to play, and then did not get to play.
Yeah, but listen, he's the best receiver that's played for Pittsburgh.
He's a fucking idiot, but hey, sometimes dumbasses play great ball.
Yep.
And he's a great example of that. I have him as my 3rd because I gave John Stallworth the 1. He's the leading receiver in...
He's the man that I left off this list.
I left off Lynn Swann. Because
Here,
like
real quick, go 1 through 3, then we'll talk.
Cool. Got John Stallworth, Hines Ward, and AB.
Okay.
So you left off one guy.
I went AB, Hines Ward, Lynn Swann.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And granted, I think...
Again, there are Hall of Famers being left off.
I think that's
But
good.
Here's why. So you touched AB. Mm-hmm. We both have Hines Ward.
Yep.
This guy he embodies like the spirit of Pittsburgh beyond the talent in terms of like that's part of the reason why I had like Steve Smith on the Ravens. Hines Ward is a much more productive version of that for the Steelers.
Yep.
4 Pro Bowls,
Sucks he's not gonna
3-time second team All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champ. He was tough as hell. He broke people's jaw. He broke a Bengal's jaw with a block.
I gotta give it to him, man.
I'm just saying, like, again, sorry, it keeps coming back to like the Bengals and the Browns, but like Hines Ward breaks your face when he blocks
Hines
you.
Ward will fucking break your face, man. Like, absolutely.
And then Stallworth or Lynn Swan, it could have been either, but I went with Lynn Swan just out of taste, I guess.
Sure.
Like they're both good. I just picked Lynn Swan.
Sure. No, I went John Stallworth because I like we got the AB, we got Hines Ward. Give me a guy who can just, a big-bodied guy. That catch that he had over the shoulder in the Super Bowl was kind of that real defining moment where I'm like, yeah, I kind of want him going to Ben. And not only do, give him John Stallworth, but then also his 2 guys in Hines Ward and in fucking AB.
Yeah.
Back when AB and him were not hating each other. And absolutely, I think Big Ben, especially with the O-line we're about to fucking talk about, that he's going to have all day.
Yep.
And he's going to have guys open.
Well, let's not forget about tight end. I went Heath Miller.
Same.
2-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champ.
Yep.
And this should be noted that in the mix of all those receivers we just talked about, in Steelers history, Heath Miller is 3rd in receptions all time and 4th in receiving yards in Steelers history. He's a top 5 receiver in Steelers history.
And that's crazy because of all these fucking receivers.
So that's weapons for days.
Yeah, I to be honest, that's why I brought in Bettis, because I was like, bro, I'm not gonna have Franco Harris running the ball effectively.
I'm gonna have him doing everything.
I love it, but I got Heath himself, man. He's just a stud.
Yeah,
Heath Barr.
All right, so then left tackle. Now tackle is the only spot where the Steelers don't really have like Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
So left tackle, I went Marvel Smith. He was a Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champ. When the weakest position on your team is still a Pro Bowler, you're cooking.
Yep, Marvel Smith too. We got a superhero over here.
All right, and I'm just gonna get my other tackle out of the way. I went Tunch Ilkin,
okay.
2-time Pro Bowler, good Pro Bowler good player from like the only era where the Steelers like weren't winning Super Bowls.
Yep.
So he gets a little bit overlooked in like the whole grand history of Pittsburgh.
Sure.
But a solid player in his time for the Steelers.
I went Alejandro Villanueva.
Oh.
Yeah, I went a little bit modern guy. He was very consistent for the Steelers, and it's kind of the same situation of if you don't have Hall of Fame guys who are just guys you set and forget, then give me a guy who fights his fucking heart out and is a fucking stud. I mean, former Army guy, former veteran, former student at Army. Like, this is the guy I want in my right tackle situation, especially, it was only for a couple of years when he was around before he went to Baltimore and then finally called it.
Yeah.
But absolutely, I went for a stud who this guy fights with heart. This guy he'll hit you in the fucking mouth in the way Hines Ward will. And I very much, I had to stick with him.
Now on to the interior where great players are left out.
Unfortunately.
Left guard, Alan Faneca.
Okay. 7
Pro Bowls, 6 first-team All-Pros, 1 second-team All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, 2000s All-Decade Team, Hall of Famer.
Right there with you.
Okay.
Left guard.
Center, Mike Webster.
Yep.
9 Pro Bowls, a first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champ, 70s and 80s All-Decade Team, NFL 75th and 100th Anniversary Team.
25 years of dominance.
And a Hall of Famer.
25 years of dominance while being retired. It's insane.
Huge shout out to Marquise Pouncey.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Wanted to put you. He is also a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro and all that stuff. The problem is,
so is Webster.
That.
Yeah, no, I absolutely wanted to put Marquise Pouncey because name brand, love the guy, absolute stud of a center. But I mean, Mike Webster here kind of has the resume.
Yep. Right guard, modern David DeCastro.
Yep, me too.
6 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pros, and a second-team All-Pro.
Easy peasy.
Great. So the offense, I think we're cooking.
Yeah, we're balling.
Now, to the modified steel curtain.
The modern steel curtain? Is that what we want to call it?
I don't even know what we want to call it that. It's mostly the steel curtain with a few additions. But here we go. So I went 4 backers.
Okay.
So DN1, LC Greenwood, 6 Pro Bowls, 2-time first team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champion. Not in the Hall of Fame, but has been nominated many, many times. So this is somebody that played to that level.
Yeah, absolutely. I got him myself. Just a stud. 6, like I said, 6 Pro Bowl, or like you said, 6 Pro Bowls, 4-time Super Bowl champion. Makes it a little bit easier to call a guy a winner.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely proven that he's won before.
This next one is certainly a winner.
Who?
Mean Joe Green.
Oh, you didn't put Mean Joe Green on this list, did you?
No, I thought about leaving him off. No, 10-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first team All-Pro, 3-time second team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champ, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 70s All-Decade Team, NFL 75 and 100 Team, Hall of Famer, and a Man of the Year. Mean Joe Green. Easy enough.
What else do you want me to say, man? Like,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who you got at the other D lineman spot?
The other D lineman spot?
Or D tackle spot, or whatever you want to do next.
I got Aaron Smith at my other D end.
Okay.
Yeah, stud. Just kind of a little bit of an older guy, but able to get to the quarterback. Kind of what I'm looking for here, especially when you got Joe Green being double teamed. I just need a guy who's proven that he can get to the quarterback.
I went with another D tackle for the third lineman, and I went Cameron Hayward. 5 Pro Bowls, 3 first team All Pros, and a second team All Pro. We have rushers for days. Cameron Hayward himself is a very good rusher. Has multiple seasons with double-digit sacks. And is also like a really good run defender.
Absolutely.
So I went Cameron Hayward.
I don't blame you.
A modern player. I always debate when I brought those in on this team, but I think he's earned that right.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you do 4 D linemen or 4 backers?
I did 4 D linemen.
All right, who's your other D lineman?
So I got another D tackle, and Ernie Stoutner.
Yep.
70. They retired 70 because of him. He's just, again, another stud. It was one of those, it's one of those guys that, in your case, had to leave off because you're doing linebackers. But yeah, they're just an absolute stud for the Steelers. I went with I just kind of keep the core together of these guys who had, from that era who have played together. Keep them together. They already did it once. Like, do it again.
There you go. All right, so for my first backer, I'm going to start with my outside backers.
Okay.
The first one I'm going to just tick off is James Harrison.
Yep.
5 Pro Bowls, 2-time first team All-Pro,
Yep.
2-time second team All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and Defensive Player of the Year in Pittsburgh.
Deep boy. You know how I feel about that. Absolutely. James Harrison. When I think of James Harrison, I think of that crazy pick return in that Super Bowl.
He could be in the Hall of Fame, too, when this is done.
Possibly, and then that move to New England. Did he win a ring?
He was a Bengal, by the way, for a year.
Was he really?
Then went back to Pittsburgh, then New England.
Wow, I don't even remember that, to be honest. But, again, I wasn't a Bengals fan back then. But I feel like I should have known that. But, James Harrison, I got him on my list as my left outside linebacker.
Okay.
Tough to stop.
All right. So my other outside linebacker, TJ Watt.
Oh.
So, 4-time Pro Bowler already, 3-time first team All-Pro already, second team All-Pro, Defensive Player of the Year, tied for the records of most sacks in a single season with 22.5, led the league in sacks for 2 years in a row. He's already third.
I take out James Harrison. I put TJ Watt.
Hold on. He's third in Steelers history in sacks. And guess what? He is probably going to become the all-time Steelers leading sack guy this year.
You're right.
TJ Watt, a modern player, is about to become at the very top of the Steelers for something. So I got TJ Watt as my other outside backer.
I feel stupid. I can't believe I missed that one. Because I went with.
He's the whole reason that I switched to 4 backers.
I don't blame you.
Because I had 2 Defensive Player of the Years at outside backers. So I was like, I'm going 2 backers.
Fair enough. Yeah, the way that I had it was, if you don't mind me going ahead a little bit.
No, go for it.
I have left outside linebacker James Harrison. I have middle middle.
We're gonna have the same
linebacker Jack Lambert. Yep. And then right outside linebacker, I've got Jack
Hamm.
Yeah.
See, those are my 2 off-ball backers inside. So I went Lambert because, here we go, Lambert. 9-time Pro Bowler, 6-time first team All-Pro, 2-time second team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champion, a Defensive Player of the Year, 70s, 80s All-Decade Team, NFL 75th and 100 anniversary teams, Hall of Famer. Right now, I have 3 Defensive Player of the Years just in my linebacker core.
It's fucking disgusting. So the only reason,
and not to mention, I have Defensive Player of the Year on the D line as well.
Yeah, no, I think I take out James Harrison because I'm doing 3 linebackers. So unfortunately, someone's got to miss. I can't take out TJ Watt. I can't believe I forgot.
Sold him.
Yeah, sold me on it. Can't believe I forgot him. Like, I feel bad that I actually forgot this guy because I technically owe this guy money because I need to buy his jersey because he won me a fantasy game. I was down by 10.
And he went off.
And I had the Steelers defense left. I won by 12.
There you go.
Like, bro, I owe this guy my fucking next paycheck, to be completely honest with you.
And then
I've kept.
Oh, he's great.
That jersey.
And then, real quick, I'm just going to get through my last backer here. Jack Hamm.
Yep.
8-time Pro Bowler, 6-time first team All-Pro, 2-time second team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champ, 70s All-Decade team, NFL 75th and 100th anniversary team, and another Hall of Famer. So all 4 of my linebackers are at some point going to be in the Hall of Fame. 3 of them are Defensive Player of the Year.
Not a bad
That
look.
linebacker core
It's disgusting.
is no fun.
I'm sick to my stomach thinking about that one, to be honest with you. But
And then now moving on from there, we're going to the secondary.
okay.
First corner,
Rod Woodson.
Rob Woodson. Yep. 7 Pro Bowls, 5 first team All Pros, a second team All Pro, Defensive Player of the Year, 90s All Decade team, NFL 75th and 100 team, and a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's easy peasy on that one. And I mean, we already.
Second one's easy too. Mel Blount.
Yep.
Yep.
He's a
5 Pro Bowls, 2-time first team All Pro, 4-time second team All Pro,
Yep.
4-time Super Bowl champ, Defensive Player of the Year, 80s All Decade team, 75th and 100th anniversary teams, another Hall of Famer.
It's a little steel curtain action for sure.
Free safety. This turned into a debate for me.
Really?
Yes.
Who'd you go with?
I went with Donnie Shell.
Okay.
5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All Pro, 1-time second team All Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champ, Hall of Famer. Now, I debated Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Really?
But here's the whole reason it didn't happen. Because he's like, his matchup, he like matches sort of with Pro Bowls and stuff like that. I don't believe Minkah Fitzpatrick is a Hall of Famer.
No.
So that right there is what did it by itself.
Fair enough.
Because again, Minkah Fitzpatrick is one of the better safeties in the league right now. But to be on the Steelers all-time team, you have to hit that level.
You have to be an
and
all-time
I don't
player.
think he does.
Yeah. No, I mean, shout out Donnie.
Who'd you do at free safety?
I did Jack Butler.
Okay.
So another guy who's well proven from that era, but I do think Donnie Shell absolutely.
Read me some stats from him.
Yeah, absolutely. 52 pick passes in 103 games, all decade team from the 50s.
Yeah.
So the issue here is he's much older.
Uh-huh.
So it's one of those situations where
Yeah, I picked the steel curtain free safety, so.
I think the steel curtain free safety is absolutely the right call. But I wanted to give a little shout out to my boy Jack Butler.
Fair enough.
From 52 pick passes in 103 games in the 50s when they weren't throwing.
Yep.
Like ball hawk.
Very impressive.
You want to talk ball hawk? I'll talk ball hawk.
Yeah.
But Donnie Shell absolutely.
And the other, but strong safety.
Yeah, that one's an easy one.
Yep. There are 2 top 3 safeties all time in this division. Troy Polamalu.
I love that fucking guy.
Love Troy Polamalu. So Troy Polamalu, 8 Pro Bowls,
Yep.
4-time first team All Pro, 2-time second team All Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champion,
Yep.
Defensive Player of the Year,
Yep.
2000s All Decade team,
Yep.
Hall of Famer.
Yep. Easy fucking peasy.
Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed. You can debate which one's better. They play completely different positions, completely differently.
Imagine having both of them. I mean, I know that's
That we can do that sometime later. We can do the all-time AFC North roster, and it's basically just going to be the Steelers with Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, and a few other things.
maybe you'll get Joe Burrow as quarterback for some compensation purposes.
Oh, you think that's going to happen?
I'll put Joe Burrow on the all-time AFC North team. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. He's
Today?
Today, absolutely. I will project that far. I will project that fucking far.
Okay, whatever you say. He's got way more to do before he passes any Steelers.
Shout out Big Ben.
He's got way more to do before he passes my Steelers backup quarterback.
I think he's already passed Terry. Granted, because no disrespect to Terry. Don't get me wrong. Terry's the man. Balled out 4 Super Bowls. But I think when it's all said and done, Joe Burrow is going to be above Terry.
I think when it's all said and done, he'll have less Super Bowls than Ben Roethlisberger. But regardless, Troy Polamalu at strong safety.
Yes, sir.
You have, again, it's either him or Ed Reed that you argue for second or third best generally all time. You're going to be, again, extremely hard-pressed to ever get a better strong safety than Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
So that is...
I remember him retiring.
Real quickly, I want to run through the Steelers' defense really quick.
Sure.
So, Joe Green, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. James Harrison, Defensive Player of the Year. Jack Lambert, Defensive Player of the Year. TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. Rod Woodson, Defensive Player of the Year. Mel Blount, Defensive Player of the Year. Troy Polamalu, Defensive Player of the Year. All but, what is it, 4 players?
That's 7, right?
Yeah, there's 7 Defensive Player of the Years
So, yeah.
coming out for the Steelers.
That is...
And every single one is either a Hall of Famer or a potential Hall of Famer who's either still playing or has not hit the eligibility yet.
Yeah.
So, shit.
Yeah. Try playing
Now moving on.
offense against that shit.
Now moving on to special teams.
Because it's important.
Yeah. Chris Boswell is my kicker.
Boz.
Most accurate kicker.
Yes, sir.
Gary Anderson was considered, but Boswell is 10% more accurate on field goals.
And it's more modern, so he's ready for that longer extra point.
Yeah. Punter, I got Bobby Walden.
I would Jordan Berry.
I thought about that.
Yeah, just high up there in the punt net average. So I'm like, you know what?
I thought about that.
How often are you gonna be punting?
Well, I was about to mention that. I'm like, I don't think you're gonna have to punt far or often.
Exactly.
And then kick returner, punt returner. I did Antonio Brown.
Really?
Because he's one of the. I just remember stories of people saying that they didn't like if he was out there returning, kick it away from him.
I just remember the fucking
Kick to the face.
the kick to the face, and I'm like, yeah, you're my punt
Yeah.
return.
So I got Antonio Brown coming out to return punts. So
I didn't know if you would put him there as well, but yeah, I mean that kick to the face was strictly. I was like, God, put him there.
yeah.
That kick to the face.
Did you actually?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, good.
No, AB's the fucking man.
Right.
Especially in that situation of like, strictly for that kick because like not is that obviously illegal play and doesn't count, right?
Yeah.
It got flagged and he got fucking brought back and everybody laughed about it. It was
Yep.
like, oh, what a fucking crazy play. The confidence you need as a returner to stare a fucking guy in the face. I don't give a shit if it's the fucking punter. To literally like, as someone who is as good as you are at being elusive, AB, you could have easily just run
You can shoot the
around
punter.
a fucking punter. You said, I don't give a fuck. I'm kicking this guy in the face and I'm dominating this motherfucker into the fucking dirt.
Exactly.
And that right there is the kind of mentality I want on my fucking punt return.
there we go.
Or